So you guys have seen me roll with a number of vans. Obviously, my buddy Jason, I'm out with a lot. You've seen me out with my friends from Grizzlies with their Quigley vans. You've seen me out with Dave from Quigley. You've seen me with We're the Russos, the serious van life people. But when you want to talk about van life, this is living the van life.
What's up, guys? It's Chad with Living the Van Life.
Oh, they know who you are. So that was almost 2 years ago in July of 2022 when I was invited to go meet up with the crew working on a little docuseries for Amazon Prime. Now, if you watched last week's video when I was at the coast with Jason, I mentioned the Amazon shoot just in passing as I was driving down the road to the beach, because we drove down that road to the beach 2 years ago when I was with that group of people. Now, in last week's video, I said that that series never ended up on Amazon Prime, and I was incorrect there. It is actually now on Amazon Prime. At the time, there ended up being multiple delays, and to be clear, these delays were out of the control of the producer of that series. But there was a date that was supposed to be on Amazon, and I told my viewers, and it didn't come out. And then there was another date it was supposed to come out, and I told my viewers, and it didn't come out. And eventually the producer did put the series on YouTube because of all the delays he was having with Amazon. I was under the impression that that's where it stayed. I did not realize that it eventually ended up available on Amazon. It is there, it can be viewed in that way. Now, when I was out with that crew, I actually filmed my own sort of episode, a little bit behind the scenes of what they were doing and just kind of sharing what our whole experience was. I only put out a short trailer of what I shot because I didn't want to tell the whole story and make spoilers for the actual series that they were putting together. My intention was to put together my full episode after the series dropped on Amazon. Now, with the delays, it got pushed back and it got pushed back even further. Then I ended up with more content that I had shot in the meantime, and then I got the camper on the truck, and I was just like sort of snowed under, and that whole thing just sort of got left behind. This video now finally is my full episode of the trip that I took with the crew out on the Amazon Prime shoot.
I've left Eugene and I'm headed west towards the Pacific. My friend Braxton called me a few days ago because the film project he'd been hired to work on was looking for another overland YouTuber to include in their docuseries. I'm always happy for any excuse to get over to the coast, so I'm making my way up into the national forest where the crew I'm meeting up with has settled in for the night. After many miles of gravel roads, I've finally arrived at camp. This crew has already been traveling and filming along the coast for a couple of days, but due to some scheduling conflicts, I was unable to join them until last night. I don't really know what the day will have in store for us, but I'm going to just enjoy being out here and take it as it comes. Jeff is the producer of the Divergent Pathways docuseries, and we're filming what will actually be episode 3 of the series, after an episode in Death Valley and another in Eastern Oregon. Jeff's crew for this trip includes Cristin, director and cameraman Evan, Braxton on camera 2, and Gene handling still photography. You'll see some of Gene's photos sprinkled throughout this video.
these guys are filming a sort of documentary miniseries for Amazon Prime, and they are looking at adventure travelers, things like that. I think in this episode they're sort of looking at people who are more involved with social media and influencers. They had someone else lined up to go on this trip that had to back out, a couple of them actually, and so Braxton, who you've met in some of my earlier videos, is helping these guys film this, and he got Cristin, badass brunette, who you've seen before, and me in onto this shoot.
Working our way down out of the coast range with the intention of doing some filming on the beach, but right out of the gate, things are already not going as planned. It won't be the first time this weekend.
A lot of time these forest roads were built for log trucks. They've got really solid foundations, they're gravel, they're really solid roads, and they're not like gnarly, rocky, bumpy like some of the desert roads I get into out in eastern Oregon. The problem is that makes it pretty easy to get going at a nice steady pace, but these roads still develop some pretty nasty potholes, and this sort of midday light that we're dealing with here, with just super bright spots and super dark shadows, dust kicked up from other vehicles, it's really hard to see the road and avoid some of these bumps. And so Cristin's trailer is just taking a beating down this road.
The smooth pavement of Highway 101 is a pleasant relief as we convoy down into town.
So not all adventures have to be on dirt roads. We are in town. We stopped at the Yamaha store to try and find a part for Cristin's Yamaha bike. They don't have it, so we're trying to work out a repair.
You're just saying just bolt that straight on, huh?
Jeff is hoping to get some footage of Cristin riding her motorcycle for his episode, but it sustained some damage when it toppled over earlier. Chad and Cristin are working on improvising a temporary solution.
14?
Digging through boxes of spare hardware, they've managed to rig up a fix that should let her at least do a little riding this weekend. It's my turn to take the lead as I guide the crew down to a little-known access to a stretch of legally drivable beach. Jeff has found someone in need of assistance, and Chad is relishing his first ever drive on a beach. As we start to work our way back off the beach, Gene's overland Audi struggles a bit with the deep soft sand, and the crew kicks into action with a recovery. Might have camped down there near the beach, but it's a July weekend and all the spots in the trees are occupied. We're airing up so we can get back on the highway. Jeff actually grew up on the Oregon coast and remembers a road not too far away he used to drive up into the hills, where we should be able to find some place to camp.
And here's where the story starts to really take some unexpected twists and turns. So as I mentioned earlier, we were heading up a road that Jeff remembered from when he was younger, up into the hills, try and find some place to camp. The road got narrower and narrower, and rather than taking the whole entire convoy up, Jeff and a couple of them went up to just scout it in case there would be a situation where we couldn't get turned around. So I was not up there to film what happened next, so I'm just going to have to tell you the story. So they were up there. It turned out the road has since been gated, now private land up there. So as they were out there trying to get their trucks turned around, figure out what to do, someone in a house that was right there came out to see what all the commotion was. So Jeff talked to him a bit, explained what we were out there doing and why they came up that road. And this guy turned out to be super nice, super helpful. In fact, his name is Travis, and we're going to see a little more of Travis later in this video. At this point, it was getting late, it was getting dark, and we still could have gone all the way back down to the highway and up to where we had camped the night before. That was many, many miles away. It was probably going to be a solid hour of driving. But Travis had another idea for us right there along their road. Now, this didn't look like the kind of place where normally you should camp. On the other hand, there was nothing that said camping wasn't allowed. Travis assured us it would be fine. He even said that he would talk to some of the other neighbors up there, reassure them of who we were, and there was nothing to worry about with us camped, in this area. So we were a little nervous about this, but we took Travis at his word and we got our camp set up. As we started settling in and making our dinners, a rather official looking white pickup truck rolled into the area. And we thought, oh no, here we go. We're gonna have to break down, go find someplace else to camp. Well, turned out the guy in the white pickup was Travis. He was just coming down to see how we were, if we got set up, if it worked out for us. He ended up hanging out with us, had a beer, chatted for quite a while with us, actually probably hours into the evening. Super, super nice guy. And this little encounter ended up changing the rest of our trip.
You get a burger? It's ground up and garlic. I'm on. I know right where it's at. I am. And I'm like, oh wait, dude, they're reaching. Posted about a driver's license. They're pulling up because nobody knows their name. And then he said they really lost their way out.
Having lunch on the shore of another coastal freshwater lake at a popular local barbecue joint Travis recommended, which did not disappoint. This is the gate that thwarted us last night, but we now have the key.
You've seen me run into a lot of gates on private land, but this one's going to be different.
Our new friend and guardian angel Travis talked to his neighbors who now own this land, and they have agreed to let us drive up in there and camp for the night. The old road Jeff remembered still goes partway up into the forest, and there is just enough room for us to get all the rigs tucked in. This is an incredible privilege, and we're immensely grateful to the landowners for granting us access to their beautiful Coast Range property, and to Travis for making it happen. I've got a quiet little spot in the shade set back from the larger clearing to get my own little camp set up.
So this is really sort of a rare and unique opportunity. We really kind of lucked into it. We're up on a big tract of forested private land in the Coast Range, and the landowners have given us permission to drive up in here, camp up here. I love getting out and discovering what's on our public lands, but there's definitely something special about going someplace that pretty much almost no one has been up into and seen. This is going to be an interesting afternoon. First, though, we're gonna go down and cool off.
This is Travis, and he has one more treat in store for us.
I'm on a boat! I'm on a boat!
So one thing I have really loved about this trip with this crew is that it's had a certain sort of improvisational aspect to it. I mean, we have almost every single day where we had a plan, and then we've had to sort of change the plan, and then, you know, we ran into this Travis, and now we're camping on private land, and now he's taking us down to the lake in the back of his truck, and we're gonna go out on his boat on the lake. The whole vibe of this has just been amazing.
I'm rolling up the truck down at the dock. It's time to do some cruising, baby. Get a little stuck. It's a Saturday joyride. Perfect Beach is the spot. We're on a boat. We're feeling fine. Drinking Tennessee whiskey, a big blue sky. We're going up. We're coming down. There's a party on the water. It's a hell of a time.
At least you're almost on.
There's a party on the water, it's a hell of a time. We're on a boat, we're killing time. In our own honky tonk with a bottle of wine. We're going up, we're coming down. Cheers to feeling alright, it's a hell of a time. Hell of a time. It's a hell of a time.
What are you running from?
Oh, hell of a time.
Die! Little log legs.
As the sun sets over the Coast Range, we settle in around the campfire for one last evening together. Before parting ways this morning, the crew gets some footage of Cristin on her bike, and we all shoot final interviews with Evan and Braxton. None of this was quite what I expected. Actually, no one expected the twists and turns our weekend took, but we had a blast.
Bye. Bye. See you guys.
Bye. Later, man. Yeah.
I'm grateful I had the opportunity to participate in this project. It was an absolute pleasure to work with everyone here. The complete Divergent Pathways series is currently available on Amazon Prime, but producer Jeff Coxon has recently informed me that this summer they will release a fresh edit of the entire series that will be shorter and more family-friendly than the original release, and include a new 4th episode filmed in Moab, Utah.